Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 9 of Connections Restored TV, an affiliate of the Bill and Callie Show Network. I'm Amy Boswinkle. I'm an intuitive and a women's business energetic mindset, marketing, and strategy coach. Today, I am so excited to share a beautiful person who I consider a great gift in this world, someone who is so near and dear to my heart, who I've really gotten the privilege and honor to know over the past 2 years. And she has an incredible story of experience, strength, and hope that I am so honored to be able to share with all of you today. So before I officially introduce my dear soul sister, my dear friend, my dear teacher, my dear sister, I'm going to read Michelle Welther's bio to you, and then we're going to give her front and center. We're going to let you guys talk to her. So Michelle is a Reiki master and RN with 30 years bedside nursing experience. She also partners with a leading healthcare company which provides pharmaceutical grade supplements, and she also helps run their family business for the past 23 years. Michelle is a public speaker. She is a wife and mother to 3 grown men, Nana to 10-year-old twins. She is currently training her 1-year-old Maltese to be a therapy dog so they can bring joy and happiness to people in the hospital, nursing homes, and really anywhere they go. Michelle has a story of triumph and courage. In 2012, she was getting sicker and sicker. Finally, she was diagnosed with autoimmune disease, chronic fatigue, and a raging candida yeast infection that was poisoning her. In 2013, she was so sick she had to leave her nursing career as she could barely lift a gallon of milk or speak a complete sentence. Even though she was well trained in Western medicine, she sought alternative therapies. This is when she woke up and she began her healing process. It was a long and challenging struggle back to health. She was determined to regain her health, and now Michelle helps others find a way through their health challenges too. So without further ado, friends, I want to introduce you to my dear friend, my soul sister, someone I love very, very dearly, Michelle Welther. Michelle, I'm curious if you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit more of your story with us. What was it like to go through that debilitating illness?
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Each day I was getting sicker and sicker, and the years were just going by. And I got to the point I really thought that I was going to die because, I'm going from doctor to doctor and they really just want to give me medicines and things like that. And I'm not against medicine, but I do know that every medicine has some bad side effects, and you have to decide if it's worth it to take that medicine. And so a lot of the medicines I was being offered caused kidney damage, but I only have one kidney, and I thought, what am I going to do, right? If I take that, then what? I'm going to be on dialysis for the rest of my life, and I just didn't feel like that was where I wanted to go. So I had to figure out a different route, and that's how I transitioned into a more holistic approach and learned about Reiki and cranial sacral and supplements. And I always say that your food is either your very best medicine or your very worst poison. And it's at the end of your fork and you get to decide. So that's how I felt about all of that.
Wow, that is really powerful, Michelle, to see all of the wisdom and education that you had gained being a nurse and being open to the realm of Western medicine, knowing that, medication is needed and necessary, but also recognizing that there is a choice in that process. And that when you connected the dots, things that you teach your own students, that what is at the end of the fork is either life producing or it takes away your life. So I'm just curious, how did you arrive to where you are today with that wisdom?
Well, it was, trial and error at first. right? So this doctor would say that, and this one would say that. And but really, if I really want to say, when I had my first son, and he's in his 40s now, I made my own baby food for him, even though back then that wasn't really in vogue because all the people just went to the store and bought baby food. So when I really think of it, I probably was just born this way, and I had that knowing inside of me, but I just didn't know it then.
Wow. Yeah, I can definitely resonate with what you're saying, connecting to this inner knowing, but not always being able to connect to it in a deep manner, knowing it was there, but utilizing the knowledge that we've been given on our life's journey until we recognize, oh, there's this deeper voice within us that we actually can tap into, and you learn to utilize and trust.
Mm-hmm.
I really love what you said there. So I know that part of your mission is to bring people to a state of joy, to help people not only with their health, but to help them so much with their health that you help them to create the state of being of joy. And I'm curious, in your eyes, with what the world is going through right now. Some of us are right in the midst of the world backing up through COVID-19 and the pandemic. Some of us are still in the midst of our states, being closed and integrating in that stage of release. So especially now during this time of crisis, how do you see the things that you have learned in your journey being useful to create a state of joy with helping others?
What I've learned is that what we sometimes say is, terrible or awful, or I believe the universe gives us gifts, and we feel maybe sometimes that they're wrapped in sandpaper. But the truth is, when you're able to look back, you could really see the gift that it is. And I've had many of those kinds of experiences. This whole COVID thing has been stressful, I think, for everyone. But we get to choose what we want to be. If we want to be happy, if we want to be joyful, or if we want to be depressed. And so it just takes work to control your mind, right? And remember that, to think happy thoughts and to just choose that joy, like listening to the birds or something. That's how I do it.
I love that. I love that. So being able to look back at the experiences that we have walked through, even though at the time it might have felt like sandpaper. And that, once we arrive at the other side, we gain a sense of wisdom around that we had to go through everything that we went through to arrive on the other side. And that it's a journey, and that there's actually wisdom attached to that. So I thought that was really profound. And I also agree with you, there are some stressful times going on right now with all people in some way, shape, or form, with, the pandemic and COVID that, we're all at different stages with. So I'm curious if you might not be able to share when you were in your most stressed out state, if you can just kind of connect back to that version of you who felt like maybe she was on her last leg, or that hope was almost lost. Like, what wisdom might you be able to share with us now that you're on the other side of that?
Well, I've always just had a really strong faith that everything was going to be okay, even when it was terrible. And so I was so sick, I literally couldn't dress myself. So I had to leave my nursing job, and my whole life was falling apart, really. I felt my marriage was crumbling. I am losing this job, which, right, we identify with that. So I was losing everything, but I just said, I have to do everything that I can do to get better. So when I left that job, I had 9 physical therapy, doctor appointments, cranial sacral. I mean, I just put every single ounce of energy that I had into getting well because I just had to do it. And so, and that was how I found USANA, which changed my life. I mean, and it was just amazing. But every single thing that I went through, I do know that it brought me to the next place and to the next place. And I wouldn't have been able to maneuver those places without all those prior experiences.
You know, that really touched a really deep part of my heart, Michelle. And I know that both you and I are, you know, really sensitive people, and you almost had me in tears because I can, and I know you can too, you know, create to the depth of suffering in an empathetic and compassionate manner with which we both know there are people out in this world, you know, suffering in some way, shape, or form, whether it's with their health or their emotions, whether that's with their the way that they're thinking, their mindset is, with their spirituality. But what really spoke to me when you were in the pits of despair, you had a strong faith. You had a strong faith. There was something inside of you that you connected to that kept you moving forward. Can you just speak to that just a little bit more? So for those who are watching right now, or maybe perhaps watching the replay, like connecting to that faith or that strength inside of us that continues to push us forward when we want to give up.
Well, for one thing, I think my superpower is that I'm resourceful. Okay, so I always have been able to figure something out. So I had to try, this and this and this and this. And back then, this is true. If somebody would have told me that if I drank ground up worms, that I would be well, I would have done it. I was willing to try anything. And you always say, if you either want something with all of your being or you like the idea. And I didn't know that saying back then, but I knew that I had to just keep going. And so when they're telling me exercise and do this and do that, but I was in so much pain and I could barely move my body, and I had frozen shoulders on both sides. So this was the only movements that my hands had. That would took me 4 years to get over that. But when I found USANA and started taking USANA, I started getting energy back. And so then that energy, helped me to be able to exercise, to, start moving in another direction. And that's how I did it.
I love what you said there, that your superpower, we might also say or call it your innate intelligence, was resourcefulness, right? And that resourcefulness allowed you to continue forward, trying a variety of different healing modalities, some Western medicine, some alternative medicine, and that it was that resourcefulness and that ability to be open-minded, to have that growth mindset and be open to the possibility that there were perhaps multiple different paths to the final destination, is what helped you to arrive at that place. That drive inside of you, there was something inside of you that knew, if you just were patient and connected to, well, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, instead of being in that lack mindset or that scarcity mindset of there's only one way, right? You were able to open up and bloom into this space of like, there are multiple paths to the same destination. So I love that you shared your superpower with us, Michelle, and that superpower is resourcefulness. And I know that I also heard you mention that USANA was particularly useful, in fact, more than particularly, incredibly useful in your journey. So I'm curious if you wouldn't mind speaking to us about what USANA is and maybe what some of the products you utilize to regain your health.
USANA is a pharmaceutical grade supplement company. Um, so we have to follow the strictest standards. And I love the founder of it. He's a medical doctor, a microbiologist, and an immunologist. So everything they do is based on science. That's the nurse in me. I like science, and I want things that are proven. And he gives that to the company. So I had taken vitamins a lot in my life. I always took vitamins, but these were different for me, and they were pure and they were potent and they were proven. So, I take just about every product that we make, but I tell people start out with just the Cell Essentials, which is like a multivitamin. But you've never had vitamins like that until you've had USANA. That is the truth. And so, in the beginning, I was seeing a cranial sacral therapist, and she told me that I needed those supplements. Now, I'm telling you, I had warm water physical therapy, cranial sacral. I did lymphatic drainage. All of these things were going on at the same time. I mean, that's all I did for a couple of years was try different therapies, because some would work for a little while. And then when they didn't work anymore, I had to try something else. But I just kept on going because the alternative wasn't something I wanted. I just had to keep trying. And now I am completely out of pain. And I have mobility issues. I'm always going to have that because that's just the body that I have right now. But I'm grateful for my body the way it is.
Now, that was really powerful, Michelle. You're grateful for the way your body is. So finding appreciation in what we do have rather than, focusing on all of the things that we could, and do want to improve upon, but realizing that, we can create steps to add more things in, but it really starts with that solid foundation with being okay and being grateful with the body that we have. It's really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Michelle has educated me, friends, in her USANA, and I have been taking the Cell Essentials and the core minerals now for, I think, 3 months, and I can definitely tell a difference. I am a vitamin girl. I do like them. Some of my past history is I worked at a health food store for 12 and a half years before I got into the line of work that I do now, helping women grow their businesses. But I actually really am in love with her products. So I can't speak more highly of it. I'm curious, Michelle, if you wouldn't mind sharing one of your personal, being that we are in a time where people are experiencing more stress than normal. And if you could give them one of your favorite tools to help them with stress, whether that's with USANA, you're also a Reiki master, you have other tools in your tool belt, such as tapping and deep breathing and journaling and meditation. What is one of your favorite tools to help yourself and others? And would you mind sharing that with us, just to give people a tool to take with them today?
So my very favorite, I like that you always teach the 5-5-7 breath, but for some reason my body doesn't want to do that. It stresses me out more to do it. But I have found that alternating nostril breathing works really good for me. And when I start out every meditation, that's how I start out. So as soon as I start doing that, my body already knows now that it's going to relax, that it's going to be good. And if you want me to demonstrate it, I will. So the alternating breathing is you use your thumb and your ring finger. Okay. So, and then you put these two fingers right here on the bridge of your nose. So I breathe out through my left nostril. Okay. And I cover the right nostril. And then I breathe in through the left. And then you cover that with your ring finger. And then you let it out through the right. And then you breathe in through the right. Hold it up there a second. Breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. And then you just keep on going like that. And what that does is lets the right and the left side of the brain communicate with each other. So it's your logical mind and your creative mind, and it just relaxes you. And as soon as I start doing that, I can calm down in an instant. So I hope that is helpful for other people.
My goodness, I have a feeling it's going to be incredibly useful for others, because just the few breaths that you demonstrated, I followed along and I could definitely tell a difference. And I love how you found that and how you were able to explain that it balances the left right brain balance, which is really, really, really important. And I also want to connect that to, the journey that you took with your health and being in that open-minded growth mindset space of recognizing that there is a useful space for Western medicine for those who it calls to. And then there's also a useful space for alternative medicine for those whom that route goes to. And that some people may find incredible usefulness collaborating the two, right? And so it almost seems like a left right brain balance, in that area as well, right? Like that we can take something that we have been, I know I can speak for myself. My mom was a nurse. My mom was a nurse when she was still on this planet. And she was a very big advocate of, medicine and health, and she believed in medication. And my own journey of finding ways to heal myself from the ailments and maladies that I went through, and finding that alternative approach. And I can definitely see how, connecting the two can create that balance within the left and the right brain. So I love how you just said that at the end. So thank you so much, Michelle. I'm just curious. I'm going to ask you one last question. I know that you have provided a lot of incredible information today, and I'm sure that there are people in the audience who would perhaps love to learn more about Reiki or tapping or USANA, the cell essentials, the breathing technique, any of those things. Where would you direct people to be able to find you if they would like to connect with you further?
They can call me on my personal cell, which is 630-479-5989. They can email me at Michelle with 2 L's .Welther, WEALTHER @att.net, or they can check out my website, which is foodminerals.usana.com. And I named my company Food, Minerals, and Miracles because that is what it took for me to get well.
Beautiful. Food, Minerals, and Miracles. So powerful, so powerful. Thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on today and sharing your story of experience, strength, and hope. I know I absolutely love hearing the journey that you walked through to become the woman that you are today, and to have the big, caring heart that you do, just wanting to bring joy and peace and health into other people's lives. And I know Michelle is a true testament, friends. She has definitely brought those things into my world. She has definitely taught me to remember to find the joy in life. She has definitely taught me to remember that my health is important. And she always reminds me that gratitude is an incredible energetic gift. And that when I practice that amazing things happen in my life. So if you found this episode 9 useful, friends, it is the mission of Michelle and myself and Bill and Callie show, the Bill and Callie show, to share greater impact on this planet. And it would mean so much to all of us if this video provided any type of experience, strength, or hope for you. If you wouldn't mind sharing this video with your friends, just because at the core of each of our beings. Creating a greater impact of health and impact in this world really means the most to all of us. And I also want to give a big, huge shout out to the Bill and Callie Show Network for continually believing in Connections Restored TV and providing opportunities for me to share my experience, strength, and hope of overcoming trauma, PTSD, and addictions, and also introducing you to amazing, beautiful people in my world who have amazing, miraculous stories. The Bill and Callie Show Network absolutely represents some of the most amazing people in the Northwest Indiana community and beyond. They are a growing network. So if you feel called to connect with them, please like them and follow them at the Bill and Callie Show Network. If you would like to connect with me, Amy Boswinkle, you can like and follow my business page, Connections Restored. And until next week, friends, I want to leave you with this little piece of wisdom. I know that life doesn't always go the way that we desire it to go. I know that sometimes life can throw us curveballs. I know that life doesn't always feel fair. But what I do know is there are other amazing people out in the world, some that maybe you have never met and maybe you never will. And maybe all you'll ever do is watch a broadcast like this and feel connected to them. I bet today something inside of you connected to Michelle. I bet those of you who continue to watch the Bill and Callie Network connect to either them or some of their guests. And maybe even you've been able to connect to me in some way. And what I want to let you all know is from the bottom of our hearts, we love you. That there are people out in the world that you have never met that love you more than you will ever know. And if you need to reach out to someone to remind you of that, please do not hesitate to do so. Have an amazing Wednesday, friends, and I'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye. Thank you, Amy.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by
Holy moly, look at this.
Shh! Be quiet!
But this is important stuff.
Look, there's nothing more important than what I am doing right now. Reading Another Mystery by local author Susan L Pare. I have already finished these, and I've ordered her newest book, The Proof is in the Pudding, on Amazon.
Really, you need to look at this.
Shut up!
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then. For these and other books by author Susan L Pare, you may order them at Amazon.com or from your local bookstore. For more information about the author, visit her website at www.susanlpare.com.